In this video, we will discuss function interface. The function interface is a part of the java.util.function package. The function interface has been introduced since Java 8. It is used to implement functional programming in Java. It represents a function which takes in one argument and returns the result. If you look at the consumer examples which we did, consumer only takes arguments, it does not return result, whereas function takes an argument and return a result. Basically, it takes two arguments, one is the input and other one is the output. Now let's look at the example of functions in IntelliJ. So let's create a new class, and the class name is function example. And create our public static void main. And let's create our first function, and this function is of type integer. Input is integer and it will return us double. And what it will do is that it will calculate a square root of a number is equal to n and math dot square root of number. So it takes an n as an input and calculates math dot square root and return this as a double. Now let's print this out. So here inside this we are printing out a square root of 64. And now in order to apply or to call this function, we need to do square root dot apply and apply and then pass on the argument which is the input argument. Let's say we want to calculate the square root of 64. The square root of 64 is 8. So now let's run this program. The square root of 64 is 8.0 because we are returning double. Now let's look at the implementation of functions. So hit shift or control N on Windows and type function. Let's make sure that here it is selected all places and function java.util.function. So function is a functional interface. Apply applies this function to the given argument. It takes one argument which is the input and the second argument is the result. It consists of following methods. It has a default method which consists of compose, which is compose, and then and there is another method which is identity. Now let's go back to our function example. So let's print out one more square root. In this case, we'll be printing out the square root of 81. So out and the square root of 81 plus the square root and dot apply. Apply is the one which basically calls and then apply this argument and then return the value. So in this case 81, and let's print it out and let's run this program. So it printed out square root of 81 is 9. Now let's create another function, and this function will convert a string to lowercase. So the function input is also string and output is also string. So string and lowercase function is equal to s input and s dot to lowercase. And afterwards, what we are doing is that we are applying lowercase function dot apply. And let's say it is programming. and also we are printing it out. Let's run this. It printed out in lower cases programming. Now let's define another function, and this function is a concatenate function, and function, this is also a string input and a string output. So this is a concat function, and this function is concatenate in Java. So it will concatenate in Java to the input. Now you want to print out programming in Java. So how you will do that? You will call this function, lowercase function first, and then concatenate function in Java, and it will print out lowercase function and concatenate. So it will print out programming in Java. So you want to print out programming in Java, so you call this function and then this function, and then it will print out programming in Java. So let's do that. So system out, and so first you will apply the lowercase function dot, and then here's a and then function, or and then method. So and then apply concatenate function. And for the first lowercase function, you have to provide the argument, and the argument is programming. So this will apply lowercase function programming to lowercase function, convert into lowercase, and then it will apply concatenate function. And let's run this example. And you can see that programming in Java. So it applied this argument to lowercase function first, and then apply concatenate function. So it converted programming to lowercase and then concatenate function and print out programming in Java. Now let's think of it as a use case where you wanna apply at the end. You wanna apply this lowercase at the end. Like for example, you wanna do the concatenation of this string first, like programming in Java. So and then apply the lowercase function to the whole string. So for that, what we have built into this function is compose method. So let's do south, and what we will do in this case is lowercase compose, and we'll call compose, and afterwards concatenate function and then apply, and this apply will be programming. So what compose will do is that it will basically compose both this function arguments together, and then afterwards apply the lowercase function. So it will concatenate programming with in Java and then apply the result of it to the lowercase function. Now let's run this program again. So you can see that programming in Java. So before in I was capital and J was capital, but here programming in Java, everything is in lowercase. So this is a use case of compose where you want to apply those functions, like apply the result of the functions before calculating the value of the functions, the first function. In the next section, we'll be looking at a more example of function interface. But for the time being, that's all for this section. Thank you.